When was the last time you opened your freezer and actually knew what was in there? Not guessed. Not hoped. Actually knew. Because for most people, the freezer starts with good intentions. You're saving food. You're being smart. You're reducing waste. But somewhere between buying the groceries and finding a mystery container 3 months later, the system breaks down. And here's the thing nobody tells you. The problem usually isn't the freezer. It's not the containers. It's not even the food. It's the habits around it. In Japan, there's a word called monai. It doesn't have a perfect English translation, but it roughly means grief over waste. Not guilt. Grief. The quiet feeling that something valuable was let go before its time. And that one word quietly explains why Japanese freezer habits work so differently. Today, I'm sharing 8 of those habits. And I promise by the end of this video, your freezer will never feel the same way again. Don't skip to the end on this one. Habit 7 is the one most people don't even realize they're getting wrong. Every single time they use the freezer. Let's get into it. Habit 1. Freeze food before it becomes a rescue mission. Okay, hear me out. Most people freeze food the same way. The vegetables are almost gone. The bread is getting stale. The leftovers have been in the refrigerator for 3 days. Then finally, I should probably freeze this. But here's the issue. By that point, you're not freezing fresh food. You're freezing food that's already heading downhill. Japanese meal preparation flips this completely. If you already know you won't eat something soon, you deal with it early. Cooked rice is the perfect example. Instead of leaving a large pot in the refrigerator, hoping someone will finish it, you portion it and freeze it, while it's still actually good. Same goes for bread, cooked proteins, and prepared meals. The mindset shift is simple but powerful. Stop asking, "Can I save this?" Start asking, "When am I actually going to eat this?" That one change in thinking can cut your food waste dramatically. Habit 2. Freeze in portions your future self will thank you for. Real talk, this is the mistake everyone makes. You cook a large amount. Put it all into one container. Freeze it as one giant block. Then tomorrow, you only need 1 serving. Now you're stuck. You either thaw everything, or you leave it frozen and order pizza. And that's exactly how food gets abandoned. Japanese-style meal prep fixes this simply. Rice gets divided into individual portions. Cooked vegetables get separated. Soup bases are frozen by how much you'd actually use at once. The goal isn't a picture-perfect freezer. It's removing friction. Because the easier something is to use, the more likely you actually use it. Think about your worst evenings. You're exhausted. It's late. The last thing you want is effort. You open the freezer. If you see one massive frozen block, you're ordering in. But if you see one perfectly sized portion, dinner is practically done. That's it. That's the whole secret. A good freezer doesn't just preserve food. It makes the right choice easier. Habit 3. Get the air out. This one's more technical. But bear with me, because it matters. When food sits surrounded by air inside a freezer, moisture slowly moves out of the food and forms ice crystals on the surface. That's how you get those dry, pale patches, called freezer burn. The food might still be safe, but the texture and flavor take a serious hit. The fix? Compact storage. Use freezer-safe bags or airtight containers. Press excess air out before sealing. Keep portions flat when possible. Don't leave half-empty bags with a pocket of air around the food. And here's the bonus. Flat portions freeze more evenly. Stack neatly. And suddenly your freezer stops being a pile of frozen mystery objects and starts being an actual system. Habit 4. Label it. Seriously. I know. You're thinking, I'll remember what this is. You won't. Was that chicken from last Tuesday? 3 weeks ago? Before that thing happened. And you completely forgot about it? So you keep pushing it to the back. And eventually you stop trusting it. Japanese home organization removes that uncertainty. With one small habit. Label what you freeze. Food name. Date. That's literally it. No complicated system. No color coding. No spreadsheet. Just a marker and 2 pieces of information. And here's what changes. When food has a visible date, your brain treats it as something with a future. Without a label, it becomes background. And background is exactly where forgotten food lives. Habit 5. Prep it for how you'll actually cook it. This is where the Japanese approach gets genuinely clever. Most people freeze ingredients based on what they bought. A bunch of green onions. A bag of ginger. Whatever herbs were left over. Japanese-style prep thinks one step ahead. How is this actually going to be used? Green onions? Wash them, dry them, slice them, and freeze them portioned. Now when you're making soup, fried rice, or noodles, you grab what you need directly from the freezer. No chopping. No prep. No mess. The same goes for grated ginger. Chopped herbs. Diced vegetables. Do the work once. So your future self doesn't have to do it 5 times. And here's the real insight. People think food waste happens because they're careless. But honestly, it usually happens because using the food requires more effort than it's worth in the moment. The vegetables are frozen, but they still need chopping. The meal is frozen, but nobody knows what's inside. Every extra step is friction. And when you're busy and tired, friction always wins. Good freezer habits remove those barriers. Before you're hungry. Habit 6. Keep it visible. Keep it honest. Here's a wild thing about food waste. You can waste food while knowing it's sitting right there in your freezer. Because seeing something isn't the same as being able to find it. A crowded freezer creates layers. Old food disappears behind new food. Small packages fall underneath larger ones. And now you have a freezer full of food, but no actual idea what you have. Japanese minimalism applies a useful principle here. Don't keep more than you can actually manage. Keep similar foods together. Use small containers for small portions. Stack flat items when possible. Leave enough space to see what you own. Then use one rule. First in, first out. Older food moves toward the front. Newer food goes behind it. Now your freezer quietly tells you what needs to be eaten first. Instead of opening the door and thinking, what should I make? You look inside and immediately see, oh, I already have dinner. That's not just organization. That's money staying in your pocket. Habit 7. Stop treating the freezer like a time capsule. Okay, this is the one I really need you to hear. A freezer is not a time machine. Freezing slows spoilage. But it does not make food immortal. The longer something stays frozen, the more its quality quietly degrades. Texture deteriorates. Flavors fade. And eventually, even if something is technically still safe, you don't actually want to eat it anymore. That's why the smarter move is to freeze with a plan. Before anything goes in, ask yourself one honest question. When am I realistically going to eat this? If you don't have an answer, you're not preventing waste. you're just delaying it. The goal isn't to preserve everything. The goal is to preserve what you'll actually value later. Leave space in your freezer. Rotate what's there. And let go of things you genuinely know you won't use. Because the best freezer isn't the one packed completely full. It's the one where nothing inside feels forgotten. Habit 8. Design your freezer around who you'll be tomorrow. The final habit isn't really about freezing. It's about something bigger. When you come home tired, hungry, and completely done for the day, you don't need more decisions. You need food that's already halfway to becoming dinner. Japanese home cooking isn't about cooking everything in advance. It's about preparing one small thing before you need it. Cooked rice, portioned and ready. Vegetables already washed and cut. A soup base waiting quietly in the freezer. Small portions that can be reheated without making an entire meal from scratch. The freezer becomes a quiet extension of the kitchen, not a place where food goes to disappear. And here's the deeper truth behind all of this. We don't waste food because we don't care. We waste food because the easiest option wins. If cooking requires 30 minutes of effort, and ordering in takes 30 seconds, your tired brain will choose the path of least resistance. Every time. But if your freezer already contains something useful, the decision becomes different. You don't have to become more disciplined. You just have to make the better choice easier. That's Madanai in action. Not a strict system. Not a perfect routine. Just a quiet refusal to let good things go to waste. So tonight, don't reorganize your entire freezer. That's how people get inspired for 2 hours. And then give up by next week. Just pick one habit. Maybe it's labeling. Maybe it's portioning. Maybe it's simply moving the oldest thing to the front. Start there. Because your freezer shouldn't be a place where food goes to be forgotten. It should be a place where today's preparation quietly takes care of tomorrow. Which of these 8 habits are you going to try first? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. And if someone you know keeps finding mystery containers at the back of their freezer, send this to them. Because sometimes, the most useful thing you can share with someone is a system that actually works.